Hello, hello and welcome to the channel. It's Monday morning. The 6th. The 6th of December. Well, I'm trying. It is 8 minutes past 10. What we need to do. So, processing information. So, last night, there's a lot of stuff happened and my mentality was being affected by events. So, I thought about making a video. And then I realised there was some negative thoughts in my head, right? So it was unpleasant thoughts and say anger and unhelpful and self-centered, narcissistic, malignant narcissism, bad thoughts about a lot of different things. And the main driver, I suppose, there's a few different things and what's going on. So actually, let's just go over. This is just what is this? It's a channel update. I'm talking about my life. If you want to listen to it, listen. If you don't, go and watch something else. I don't need to tell you that, you know that. So trying to navigate life, modern life, and relationships, and do it in a positive way can be a challenge. And I was feeling quite negative last night, and when I woke up, if I've got things bothering me, what I tend to do is I go to bed, sleep, and then when I wake up I start thinking about them, so they're there. So I mean, basically you need to process information and you need to act. We're all actors. We're all actors on stage. Who said that? Shakespeare? Something like that. Yeah, I need to look that up. But I don't have time to go and look everything up. So, what it is, I suppose, my main bugbear, and I am aware that I really don't want to start getting too personal about family stuff, my relatives. But I did discover last night that I became a grandfather in June. I think it was June the 6th or something. So it's now October and I've just sort of found out. So the fact that my son doesn't talk to me and doesn't share that information for his, it really falls with him. And he never told me about my granddaughter either. I found that out through my youngest daughter. So the whole family seems to function, but without me, right? So I'm not part of the family. I'm not part of anything about it. That's the way it is, and I've got to live with it. So really going into that would be, probably take a few hours to go into the whole dynamic or background of our family and everything about it, and a lot of it is quite contentious. What am I saying? Not contextual. It's I can't think of the word. A lot of it's contentious, as in libelous, or we all have different views on what happened. I've got my views. Nobody really wants to hear them. So let's not go into that. Let's go into the fact that, so what actually happened was when my dad, I'll try and do this quickly. When my dad died, my son, the eldest son, because I'm divorced. So again, you can't really start going into all of that and how that happened and who. Well, my first wife divorced me. So I had 3 children to her. One of them died, and in her, all I'm going to say is So I had this, my son, and I picked him, his name's Rory Fergus. I picked him up at, I was the first to see him when he was born. That was December night. That was about a week before Lockerbie disaster. And then the next one, our daughter, her name was Katrina. She's buried up at Kenneth, at the old churchyard. She died with my ex, right? She died in her company. And then the third one, Ian. He's Ian with two eyes, Ian Peter James. He disappeared as such that, well, I talked to him on the internet and email address. We conducted a series of messages on through email, and this was a few years ago now. This was about 15 years ago. And he actually said, and he was communicating quite well with me, that under no circumstances did he want his mother to know that me and him were talking. And I wanted to meet him, and I maybe did this wrong. There's two ways of looking at this. I stopped contacting him, and he stopped contacting me, because I was upset. I wanted to see him, and I think it was we both sort of parted the company. We didn't fall out or anything. We just didn't contact anymore. I mean, that's my old email address. I don't even know what happened to the emails. So that was before I transitioned. So what happened was, it was fine. I got on fine with him. There's no trace of him on the internet. So he is quite clever that he is. So if you look up my name, there's loads of me on the internet. But him, no. So he's one of these individuals. Even Callum doesn't like being on the internet. But I can get traces of Callum here, there and everywhere. Although he tries to control it. I think there is a way of staying off it. So he's obviously done that. So I don't know where he is. He's my son. He's my third child. I don't know where he is. And, you know, so again, so he kind of, I have got a letter here saying, going back, that if I didn't pay money towards my first ex, which I had paid money, but that's another thing, that I wouldn't get to see the children. And I've actually got that letter. I've still got it. Why? I don't know. Is it much point? It's all a moot point. You never win these arguments, because it doesn't matter who's right or wrong, you lose, right? So I've got that letter. So that's what's actually happened. Although I was paying maintenance. And I think my first wife thought she was going to have a major killing with me, with the CSA, and they turned around and says that I wasn't owing anything. So I had paid, but she was telling my parents that I hadn't, and all the rest of it. And there was stuff like that. Obviously, I didn't pay all of it, but I paid some of it. It was a very difficult time. I wasn't earning much at the time. I was struggling with my own mental health problems, and I was expected to pay for everything. Plus, not even get to see my kids and everything. Oh yeah, that was wonderful, right? Anyway, so I think I'm going into this a bit too much. So we'll skip all that. So I got married. I have two children, Andrew and Rona. Andrew and me, well, his mother sort of stopped us from seeing each other. And it's his choice. He's 28. He's a man. He's been offered help to have a life, and he's decided to stay in his bedroom playing computer games. And he's done that since he moved back with her, because he lived with me for a few years. The two of them did. He moved back there, and that's his choice. Right, he can do that if he wants. I can't make him do whatever. I know what he should do, and I don't think he should be playing computer games in his mother's bedroom. And I don't. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, right? So what do we do about that? Well, I don't know. So my daughter, she's doing quite well. She's probably the only one that I actually go and visit. She is the only one. I wouldn't say her relationship's wonderful, but it's alright. She's learning to drive. I'm going to help her with that. So, what's your point, caller? Right. My brother. Okay, my brother. Well, anyway, what happened with Rory? I was talking to Rory at my dad's funeral, and my auntie, that's my dad's sister, was scowling at me. And my auntie and my sister, so my brother told me, he says, look, but this was a weird thing that he said. he said, they hate you. That's my sister and his sister, our elder sister, hates me, and so does my auntie, and there's nothing he can do about it. Obviously, so he was kind of like in this neutral position, which is also narcissistic in itself. You know, for those that, that's what I said about the Second World War, you know, those who do nothing. So he chose to protect himself, which is what a lot of people do, and then keep his head, keep under the radar so he didn't get attacked. Now this is an analogy of what happened at the group that I was going to. The group that I was going to for my mental health problems. Is as a woman decided she didn't like me, started attacking me, and then got this other woman, so two of them started doing it. Now this is a feature of my life, that I get attacked by random women. It's something I've been good at, is being attacked by random women, and it's a regular thing. I think it's something to do with not conforming to gender roles. I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is, but I know it's because they've got narcissistic personality disorders or traits, and they're trying to control things. So it means that I'm perhaps not in the right pond. I'm with substandard women. I'm hanging around low value women. Right, so when it comes to relatives, you don't choose your relatives, you're related to them. So I've got low value women relatives, narcissistic women. So my auntie, my sister, all the nieces, a lot of them. None of them talk to me. So it was kind of like a blanket kind of rejection. There's none of them. The only one that talks to me is my daughter, but then she's been rejected by them as well. As far as I understand. So my brother sent me a message in the beginning of June. I'm not going to go into this too much. I did want to. Would you want to meet up for coffee? Is the message. We're coming over here in the beginning, the first week in October. So I said, yeah, sure. Let me know when. You know, I suppose what I meant was, yeah. Tell me when you're here. So now we're at the end of the first week in October. I haven't heard fuck all from him, right? Now this is typical, because the last time I met him, he was in Scotland, because he lives in Tasmania. He was here for quite a while, 2 or 3 months or something, and it was after my dad died, and I says, well, come and visit me in Gala Shields. But he chose not to, so that's fine. He didn't want it, or him and his wife didn't want it, so they don't want it, right? That's all right. So now I don't put myself out. I don't really talk to him, because it always leads to disappointment. So I don't say it. So I said, come and visit me in Gala Shields. I thought it'd be cool if he came down. Callum was working in my house, it'd be nice. But he didn't want to, so he doesn't want to. You can't force him to do something they don't want to. So he went away fanning around all over the place, except with me. So when he asked to meet me, and we met, and it was at the airport at Ingliston, and it was 12:30. I think it was 1 o'clock or something in the afternoon, or 1:30. It's for an hour. And all the while, his niece, had arranged for him to go to hers in Queensferry. So all the while, it was all very awkward. And he was needing to get away. And his wife, they were needing to get away. So I was just fitted in. And I drove an hour and a half. I drove like 3 hours to speak to him that day, to see them. And I'm 100% certain that he didn't think I was going to take up his offer. So it was a box ticking exercise that he could say that he was doing his duty to keep in touch with me. And that's all it was. And he didn't expect me to turn up. I did turn up with my friend. We turned up. And I put a lot of effort into that. While I'm going to try not to get offensive here, but while he had other arrangements that were ongoing, and I wasn't really in any of them. And that's just the way it's always been in our family. I'm the youngest. I've been abused by them for years. I've been abused by that family, and he's part of it. and he's sort of in the middle of it, in that he's like the one that doesn't really do anything, but he doesn't do anything either way, because he doesn't want to be attacked by the mad people in the family, which is my sister and my auntie and all these people. They're all really going to be dead soon, probably, and it doesn't really matter what they think or what they do. They're ineffectual people. They haven't done anything for the world or improved anything. They haven't made any money. They haven't produced it. It was my dad that did that. My dad was the one, and so was my granddad. They were both hard-working, clever, entrepreneurial types, if you want to put it that way. My dad wasn't an entrepreneur, but he did well what he did. He was highly competent, high in the competence hierarchy. Right, you're getting off the point here. So now I'm sitting here. So I know that I'm now a grandfather. I've got a grandson. Now I've been rejected from that role by my ex, who has got married again. So the new husband is the grandfather, but he's not the grandfather. I am, right? So, and I know that's a bit complicated. You might say, well, you changed your gender. It doesn't make me a grandmother, and the reality is I'm the grandfather, right? So when you go by biological definitions, I am the grandfather. Unless any of them are sleeping around. I'm pretty sure that my two sons are mine. They've got blonde hair and they look sort of like me, so. And my daughter was like that as well. It's a weird thing to say, but you never know. You've got to be realistic about life, and human beings are treacherous. And you can get to this age that I'm at now, and you can see that. And I'm not saying by any means that I'm perfect either, right? So there we are. So he's probably going to visit my grandson, and I don't even know. So none of them even told me. I found it out. I just found it out. I don't even have to say how I did, right? So they didn't tell me. So basically my position is that when my dad died, Rory, that's my eldest, should have, because we had a communication going on Facebook and the messenger, and he decided not to, so that's his choice. Now if it's because his mum won't let him, then that's his problem. It's not his mum's fault that she's exerting her narcissism on him and all the things that happened and how she was not to blame for anything in her mind, right? She is insignificant in that. It's his fault. I lay it on him. He should have told me. He should have... the ball was in his court, and he didn't want to. So he didn't want to have a relationship with me. I'm his father, and whether he likes it or not, that's a fact, right? So that's his fault, and he should have got in touch. He should have told me that he had my granddaughter, and he should have told me that he had my grandson, and he chose not to. So that's his decision, and he can't blame his mother for that. So that's the truth. And I did have this out with him, and he rejected it about him not, because my mother rejected me as well. My mother was mentally deranged, and I think a lot of the way it all worked out was that I think I've had to take the brunt of it mentally and emotionally. Like, so my eldest, my sister is a half-wit. It's probably about me. I think she's not a half-wit, but she's not far off being a half-wit. So she's managed to live her life and not really question or really look into any of these things. My brother and myself are probably, I mean, we are intelligent beings, right? Whereas my sister is not an intelligent being under any stretch of the imagination. So I think she's been dumb enough just to sort of, it's been very difficult for her. She's done a lot of stupid things, and her life has been quite, it's not been ideal, and the choices she made, but that's another feminist sort of argument. She got rid of her husband and had children to different fathers, stuff like that. She done all that and rejected the patriarchal diktat that was set in front of her. However, she was quite happy to use the money from that. And that's what she's been doing, and she's been doing it for years. She was getting money off my father every week for years. Whereas me and my brother were sort of getting on with things and away and out of the way, doing her own thing. She was there, feeding off them. And at the end, I think she really believed that she was going to get everything, and that didn't happen for her. So that's how a lot of this disharmony, and there's a lot of dishonesty here, and they're not being honest. And he'll just sort of like avoid me, and I don't think he wants to come and visit me. So I think what he'll do, he'll contact me and he'll make some arrangement, and it'll be rushed. He'll have some rushed arrangement that he'll come for a coffee, and I'll go for a coffee with him. But as ever, I will be very much the last resort, the last thought. It'll be some kind of, well, I've been invited to, I've got to go to Queen's Ferry, or I've only got 20 minutes or something, you know, and that's what's going to happen, and I know that's what he's going to do. So there is an element in me wants to tell him, I want to tell him all F off, actually. There's a lot of things about him that I wasn't really want to go into, that I fundamentally, I wouldn't have somebody like him coming to my house ordinarily for some of his belief systems, which is a bit weird. So a lot of it's externalization. He's one of these types. A lot of people do that they claim to want to save the planet and stuff like that. Or he's very, very anti-British. Is really, I'll be honest, he's anti-British. So I don't really want him to anti-British coming around to my house, you know. So that's, but at the same time, he is welcome to come round. So he's sort of like trying. A lot of it, you think, well, what does that mean? And people have a right to their beliefs, right? So then I'll say, well, you're supporting terrorist organisation because he's a fan of the IRA and everything like that. It's all weird, like. And I think a lot of the problem with him, my dad paid for him to go to Australia years ago. And I think he's been living there in Tasmania, and I think he's got kind of, in his own middle class numptiness, he's become sort of radicalised. And it's because he's there and he's not here. He's not in. I'm in central Scotland. I'm living right where the family comes from. I'm the one that's here out of all these lot, and they're all fucking about everywhere. I'm in central Scotland, and I see Scotland for what it is. It's a thing, Scottish independence, all that stuff. He's into all that stuff. But I think that's because he's externalising. He doesn't really have to do anything about it. He can say all these things and look pretty cool on the internet, and it's very shallow. He's not going to give up any of his own wealth to support any of that crap. And he is quite wealthy as well. Right, I think that's enough of that. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Some of it's personal. Why am I doing this? Well, it's the truth. And they are a very abusive family, and I'd rather just forget about them. Who wants abusers? You know, nobody wants to be abused, right? Why would you want that? Nobody wants that. But I think that's what's really bothering me, and I'm just not in a great mood about it. And I accept things happen, you know. They are unable to respect me for just being me because of these various reasons, and they'll come up with a load of stuff. But it's not right what they're doing, and it's not fair. And I suppose my granddaughter might see this. My grandson, my granddaughter. I love children, you know, I love to be part of children. And it's just that thing that, you know, you get a lot of arguments about all sorts of things. But I know that it's too much of a minefield for me to try. People might say, well, why don't you try and contact your son? My ex will not. She will cause so much hassle that it would just be too difficult to do it. You know, the reality is, yeah, well, I could actually have her arrested, actually, that's the truth. There is that as well. I don't want to get into that sort of thing. See, when you start talking about having people arrested and everything, well, that's the sort of thing that I'm saying that because that's what the problems would be for me going there. That there would be problems would be instigated, orchestrated by people I don't want it to happen, and that's what they do. We're talking about female narcissism here that runs in families. So that is kind of out, and I'm here. The positive side, I'm living here, I'm happy, I'm doing well in my life. So let's just think about that and get positive about that. So thanks for watching. It's not a great situation. There's not really much I can do about it. I can't do anything about it. It's up to them. Hopefully they'll grow up and start asking questions. The last thing I want to do is actually start battling them. I'd rather. The problem with narcissism and people with narcissistic traits like that or disorders is they won't change. My sister's not going to change. My ex is not going to change. They are the way they are. And eventually we'll die. You know, they'll die. It might change things. It might change things for the better, but it might not. It's the end of the day, we all land up dead. And I think that's what this is all about. We all land up dead. And I think that's the way it is, and it's not great. So, thanks for watching. Bye.